a food delivery rider, weaves through the city streets on his bright red motorcycle. His phone buzzes, and he answers on the move. On the other end, a woman's voice claims she's expecting his child and needs to talk. Still busy with deliveries, Wang Han brushes it off as a prank. Without slowing down, he speeds off again, zigzagging between cars. He soon arrives at the food delivery center, where his co-workers are already outside chatting away. With a cigarette dangling from his lips, Wang Han asks one of the heavier-set guys what all the noise is about. The co-worker explains that the Su family's daughter is about to marry the son of the city's wealthiest man. To Wang Han, the news sounds like gossip with no connection to his life. But then, his co-worker pulls out a phone, showing off a picture of the Su family heiress. Wang Han stares at the photo, stunned. The face looks far too familiar. This was the same woman who called him earlier. A flashback pulls us 1 month into the past. Late at night, the Su family's daughter, Su Qi, stumbles through a hotel hallway, dizzy and confused, suspecting someone tampered with her drink. In her disoriented state, she mistakes a door number and pushes open a room left slightly ajar. Inside sits Wang Han, slouched on the bed with a bottle in hand, brooding over being told his aura was too overwhelming for a golden opportunity. Before he can collect his thoughts, Su Qi staggers into the room and collapses onto his bed. Flushed and feverish, she looks up at him, mumbling that her head is spinning and she feels unbearably hot. Still tipsy himself, Wang Han is floored by the sudden intrusion. For a moment, he can't tell if it's real or just another liquor-soaked dream. Back in the present, Wang Han stares blankly at the memory, lost in thought. His co-worker snaps him out of it, mocking him in front of the group. They laugh, recalling his tall tales, how he once claimed he met a world-famous movie star, or that he was secretly part of a powerful family. The teasing escalates until a sleek red luxury car pulls up in front of them, silencing everyone. Out steps none other than Su Qi herself, elegant and composed. The drivers are dumbfounded, whispering in disbelief as they realize the Su family heiress is right there. She ignores their gawking and walks straight up to Wang Han, asking why he hasn't answered her calls. His co-workers freeze. Moments ago, they were mocking him. Now they can't believe their eyes. Playing it cool, Wang Han stretches lazily and asks what this is all about. Without hesitation, Su Qi looks him in the eye and declares she's pregnant, and the baby is his. The revelation explodes like a firecracker among his co-workers. Wang Han, however, is stunned into silence. Finally, he rubs his eyes and asks if she's sure. Su Qi, steady and firm, tells him to come with her to the hospital if he wants proof. His co-workers shove him forward, urging him to go, while he asks a friend to cover his shift. Moments later, he's in the passenger seat of her car, heading off with her. Wang Han asks directly if the baby is truly his. Su Qi shoots back, questioning why she would lie about something so serious. He takes a deep breath, saying that if it is his, he'll take full responsibility for both mother and child. She scoffs, doubting how he could provide with his modest job. Unbothered, Wang Han insists that honest work is nothing to be ashamed of. Her annoyance boils over. She slams her foot on the accelerator, jolting the car and throwing Wang Han against the seat. He yells at her for being reckless, but she stays cold and focused. Soon, they pull up at a large hospital. As they walk inside, Su Qi warns him not to toss around the word responsibility so lightly. If her family discovered the truth, the consequences would be enormous. That's when Wang Han's frustration erupts. He tells her that to him, this is no joke. If the child is his, he'll take care of them both, no matter what. But as she leads him down the hospital hallway, Su Qi stops in front of a door marked operating room. His heart drops. She calmly says she's going in. In a panic, Wang Han grabs her arm. He pleads with her not to decide based on money or family status. He swears he'll find a way to support her and the baby, no matter the cost. Just then, a nurse approaches Su Qi, politely telling her it's time for her procedure. Su Qi glances at Wang Han with a faint, unreadable smile, slips her arm free, and follows the nurse inside. Powerless, he stands in the hallway, fists clenched, feeling as if he's already lost. Inside the operating room, Su Qi lies on the table in a patient gown. The surgeon asks if she's ready. Another prepares a syringe, assuring her to relax. Su Qi closes her eyes, but at the very last moment, she raises a trembling hand and whispers for them to wait. Meanwhile, Wang Han sits slouched in the waiting area. If Su Qi is truly determined, what can he do? Then, suddenly, the operating room doors swing open. To his shock, Suu-Chi walks out untouched. He leaps to his feet, blurting out in disbelief, asking how the process could possibly be over so quickly. Calm and unfazed, Suu-Chi simply says she's tired and asks him to take her home. Wang Han agrees instantly, puffing up his chest, even bragging that he could drive anything, even a fighter jet if needed. Sliding behind the wheel of her red sports car, he pulls away from the hospital, steering toward her family's estate. On the way, Suu-Chi dozes off while Wang Han takes a call. The voice on the other end speaks of a bidding event at Julong Tower that evening, mentioning a certain chamber president is already on their side. Wang Han replies with quiet confidence, his mysterious tone hinting at a life Suu-Chi knows nothing about. Soon, they reach the Grand Su family estate. Wang Han gently wakes Suu-Chi and announces their arrival. She steps out quickly, telling him to leave before her family notices. Concerned by her pale face, he offers to walk her to the door, but she brushes him off, cold and distant. As she turns away, her high heel catches in a crack, sending her stumbling with a sharp cry. In a flash, Wang Han darts forward, catching her just before she hits the ground. He steadies her and teases her lightly for being clumsy. Her eyes narrow, demanding he repeat himself. Boldly, he does. Annoyed, she pinches his side hard, making him yelp. Without hesitation, Wang Han scoops her up in his arms and carries her inside. He sets her gently on a sofa, pulls out a first aid kit, and kneels down to wrap her injured ankle. She protests, insisting he leave, but he firmly tells her to stop moving. Just then, two women enter the room. Her mother, Yang Huimin, and her close friend, Lin Suifu, both freeze in shock at the sight before them. Yang Huimin points an accusing finger, demanding to know what is going on. Suu-Chi quickly explains she twisted her ankle and Wang Han was just helping. But then, without warning, she adds calmly, "He's my boyfriend." Wang Han's head nearly spins. Her mother, trembling with disbelief, blurts out, if this delivery rider could really be her daughter's choice. The room goes silent before Suu-Chi forces a smile and says she was joking, quickly backtracking to calm her mother. Yang Huimin scolds her for scaring her, reminding her she is about to marry into the Qin family and can't afford mistakes. Wang Han, insulted by her words, asking what's wrong with being a delivery rider. Yang Huimin snaps back, saying he's a nobody aiming out of his league. The insult cuts deep and anger flashes across Wang Han's face. Before things explode, Suu-Chi steps in, thanking him for his help and firmly asking him to leave. He gives a short nod and walks out, her friend Lin Suifu watching him go with quiet curiosity. Once he's gone, Yang Huimin orders Lin to take Suu-Chi upstairs, and with visible disdain, even tells staff to clean the spot where Wang Han stood. Later, in Suu-Chi's room, Lin Suifu helps her sit on the bed and immediately asks about her real relationship with that man. Finally cornered, Suu-Chi confesses the truth. She is expecting Wang Han's child. Lin Suifu is floored, blurting out in disbelief, demanding to know why, of all people, it had to be a delivery rider. Suu-Chi explains it was a mistake born from that night, but insists she has decided to keep the baby. Lin Suifu is horrified, warning her of the consequences if the Qin family ever learns the truth. Suu-Chi, however, stays calm, saying Wang Han promised to take responsibility. Lin Suifu shakes her head, calling it madness, and presses her to think again. When Suu-Chi grows quiet, Lin sighs and changes the subject, saying she only returned because her grandfather came to attend the bidding event at Julong Tower. Suu-Chi responds with little interest, but Lin suddenly lights up with an idea. Leaning closer, she whispers a plan so vile that Suu-Chi recoils instantly. Lin suggests that if her secret comes out, she should protect herself by claiming Wang Han forced her. Disgusted, Suu-Chi cuts her off immediately, glaring and saying, "That's a terrible idea." Meanwhile, Wang Han has already left the Su estate and is walking through the quiet villa district. He pulls out his phone and mutters in frustration that taxis never seem to pass through such an exclusive area. Just then, a sleek black car glides to a stop beside him. From it steps a silver-haired man in a sharp suit. He explains he has been sent to escort Wang Han to the evening's bidding event. Wang Han pauses, piecing everything together. He recalls his grandfather's earlier words and realizes this is the arrangement. The truth stirs within him. His life as a food delivery driver is only one side of who he really is. Moments later, a luxurious limousine carries them away. The scene shifts to a grand ballroom, alive with chatter, chandeliers glittering above the crowd of wealthy guests. Wang Han arrives, transformed. Gone is the delivery jacket. In its place, a perfectly tailored suit. Near a window, a familiar figure catches his eye. Lin Suifu, Su Qi's best friend, radiant in a white evening gown. She strides over, looking him up and down with thinly veiled disdain. "What are you doing here?" she demands, before quickly accusing him of picking up part-time work. Before Wang Han can reply, she grabs his arm and pulls him aside. Her tone sharpens. Su Qi is her best friend, and she knows about the pregnancy. She warns him that if he dares to run away from responsibility, he will regret it. Wang Han, caught off guard, blurts out that he thought Su Qi had ended things at the hospital. Lin Shuifu fires back furiously that he's wrong. Su Qi chose to keep the baby. The revelation stuns him. He says Su Qi's name under his breath, disbelief written across his face. But Lin Shuifu mistakes his silence for hesitation. To drive her point home, she presses her stiletto heel onto his shoe until he yelps in pain, then walks off, satisfied. Before Wang Han can collect his thoughts, the announcer's voice echoes through the ballroom. The bidding is about to begin. The timing couldn't be sharper. Wang Han now carries the heavy realization that Su Qi kept their child, and urgency weighs on him. At that moment, a composed woman in a business suit approaches and bows slightly. She introduces herself as Liu Yue, his new assistant, assigned by Chairman Lin Qingyun. Wang Han acknowledges her with a nod, then states firmly that it's time. At the front, a stout man dressed with flashy extravagance makes his announcement. With a smug air, he declares that the main project of the evening, the new district development, belongs to the Qin family. He warns the crowd to show respect. This is Qin Lei, the eldest young master of the Qin family. Wang Han, unimpressed, asks his assistant about him. Liu Yue explains, the Qins are among the richest families in Jiangning and plan to use this project to stabilize themselves, especially through their arranged marriage with the Su family. The pieces snap together for Wang Han. The rumors, Su Qi's engagement, and this very bidding war, and Qin Lei is her fiancé. The auction begins. The host announces Lot 053, the new district project. Without hesitation, Qin Lei raises his paddle with a thunderous first bid of 5 billion. The crowd erupts into whispers, certain no one would dare oppose him. But calmly, almost casually, Wang Han raises his paddle. 6 billion, he declares. The ballroom falls into stunned silence, then breaks into frantic chatter. No one can believe someone would directly challenge the Qin family. Across the room, Qin Lei's smugness vanishes. His fists clench, his face twists with fury, and he demands to know who dares oppose him. Wang Han doesn't flinch. With calm precision, he reminds him, this is an auction. Highest bidder wins. Qin Lei sneers that, in Jiangning, the Qin family's word is law. Wang Han tilts his head, amused, and replies that he heard him just fine. But what does that have to do with him? The crowd gasps at the audacity. Qin Lei, raging, raises his paddle again. 700 million! 800, Wang Han answers smoothly. The bids climb, tension crackling in the room. Qin Lei storms across the floor with his entourage, jabbing a finger in Wang Han's face. Finally, with a desperate shout, he offers 900 million and dares Wang Han to top it. With a calm laugh, Wang Han leans back and raises his paddle once more. 1 billion. Red-faced, he shouted that Wang Han was asking for trouble and swung a wild punch straight at him. But Wang Han was far too fast. With a smooth step aside, he dodged the clumsy strike and, in one decisive motion, delivered a clean punch across Qin Lei's face. The impact sent the arrogant young master stumbling back with a pained cry. Wang Han's cool remark followed, asking if Qin Lei really thought he could handle him alone. Before the dazed man could respond, his 2 bodyguards leapt into action. They charged, fists raised, but Wang Han's movements were swift and precise. A kick here, a strike there. Within moments, both men were sprawled across the floor, groaning in defeat. Clutching his bruised face, Qin Lei struggled back to his feet in disbelief. He shouted at Wang Han, warning him he'd regret daring to lay a hand on him. Wang Han only smirked, pointing out that at the moment, he was the one landing the hits. Another bodyguard tried to lunge at him, but a powerful kick from Wang Han sent the man crashing down, straight into Qin Lei himself. The two ended up in a heap on the ground, knocked out in an almost comical pile. The fight had lasted only seconds. Calm and composed, Wang Han turned to the wide-eyed auctioneer and casually asked if there were any more bids. The terrified man quickly shook his head. There were none. The auction was over, and Wang Han was the victor. Unbothered by the chaos, Wang Han instructed his assistant Liu Yue to sign the documents and handle the transfer. He had other urgent matters to attend to. The story then shifted to an opulent room where Lin Shuifu stood before her grandfather, Lin Qingyun. Irritated that she had been called so suddenly, she complained about missing the auction. Her grandfather, however, advised caution, saying an important guest would be arriving soon. Shuifu scoffed. Who could possibly make her powerful grandfather act so carefully? But before she could press further, an aide hurried in, reporting the shocking news. The Qin family had lost the bid. Shuifu was stunned. She couldn't believe the project had slipped from their grasp. Checking her phone, she muttered that whoever dared to challenge the Qins must be unbearably bold. Eager to inform her best friend Su Qi of this development, she stepped into the hallway, distracted by her call. Lost in thought, she collided hard against someone's chest. Startled, she looked up, only to see Wang Han standing before her. Shock quickly turned into irritation. She snapped at him, scolding the delivery guy for not watching where he was going, then brushed past him to continue her call. Wang Han remained silent, watching her walk away with a calm, unreadable expression. Moments later, Wang Han entered to meet Lin Qingyun. The older man greeted him with respect, while Wang Han casually asked about the woman he had just bumped into. With a small smile, Lin introduced her as his granddaughter, pointedly mentioning she was unmarried. He praised her qualities, hinting that she admired Wang Han. The suggestion only earned an amused sigh and a dry, "Give me a break," from Wang Han. Changing the subject, Wang Han asked about Su Qi. Lin Qingyun explained that she was the Su family's young lady, highly gifted but often overlooked in favor of her male relatives. Lin revealed that Su Qi's upbringing had been strict, her personality stubborn, and as far as he knew, she had never been involved with anyone romantically. A faint smile crossed Wang Han's lips at this revelation. Just then, his phone buzzed. The caller ID read Su Qi. He answered smoothly, saying he had just been thinking of her. On the other end, Su Qi asked if he had time. She wanted to meet. Without hesitation, Wang Han agreed and asked for her location. Rising to his feet, he told Lin Qingyun he was leaving and that the chairman could update the elder later. As he walked out, Lin tried once more to mention his granddaughter's accomplishments, even noting she had studied at the Royal Academy in London, just like Wang Han. But with no interest in matchmaking, Wang Han simply brushed it off with a "next time" and left. Su Qi sits alone on a bench, lost in thought. A moment later, the hum of an engine breaks the silence as Wang Han pulls up on his red motorcycle, dressed once again in a sharp suit. He walks over, takes a seat beside her, and without hesitation, slips an arm around her shoulders. Getting straight to the point, Wang Han tells her not to worry. He will take responsibility for her and the child. Calmly but firmly, he adds that if she wants to marry, they can go register anytime she's ready. Su Qi studies him with doubt. With a faint smile, she challenges him. Could he really afford such a responsibility? Wang Han, unfazed, gazes out at the city lights and replies, "What exactly wouldn't I be able to afford?" To test him, Su Qi raises her wrist and shows him her elegant watch. "Do you even know what this costs?" she asks. Without missing a beat, Wang Han identifies it as a Cartier Pasha de Cartier, 42mm, 18K rose gold, priced at $352,000. Su Qi is startled by his precision, but presses harder, asking how many years a delivery job would take to buy one. Wang Han waves off her worries, telling her not to think about money. He promises neither she nor the child will ever lack anything. Su Qi rolls her eyes, unimpressed with his bold talk, and dryly remarks if it would hurt him not to brag once in a while. Their moment is cut short when Su Qi's phone rings. On the line, her mother's frantic voice demands she come home immediately. Qin Hao is waiting to discuss the wedding. Su Qi hangs up quietly and turns to Wang Han, asking him to take her home. With a smile, he agrees, helping her onto the motorcycle before they speed off through the night. During the ride, Su Qi leans against his back, a soft, peaceful smile forming as she closes her eyes, comforted by his presence. Soon, they arrive at the Su family estate. Inside, Su Qi announces her return. Her mother, Yang Hui, rushes out, annoyed. She scolds her daughter for being late, reminding her that Qin Hao has been waiting. On the sofa sits a stout man in a suit, who rises with a smooth smile and introduces himself as Qin Hao, the second young master of the Qin family. Facing him, Sushi immediately pushes back. She states that since the Qin family lost the new district bid, their cooperation with her family isn't certain, so their marriage should also be delayed. Qin Hao brushes it off with a smirk, insisting marriage should come first and everything else can be discussed later. His tone leaves no doubt about his true intentions. Yang Hui panics, pleading with her daughter to reconsider, reminding her that Qin Hao promised 1 billion to save the Su family once they're married, but Suchi cuts her off sharply, declaring she will not marry him. The room falls silent. Then, with bold resolve, Suki walks over to Wang Han, takes his arm, and declares not only will she not marry Qin, she is pregnant with Wang Han's child. Her mother screams in horror, demanding if she knows what she's saying, calling Wang Han nothing but a delivery worker. Suki pleads with her mother, insisting she doesn't want to be forced into this marriage and promising she'll find another way to help the family. Yang Hui, enraged, raises her hand to strike her daughter, but Wang Han catches her wrist mid-air. His cold eyes lock on hers as he asks what's wrong with being a delivery worker. Turning her words back, he questions if selling her daughter to a man for profit is what she calls respectable. The tension snaps. Qin Hao, face dark with fury, finally explodes. He points at Suchi, calling her shameful, accusing her of choosing a delivery man over him. Then his rage turns on Wang Han, vowing to destroy him. Before he can act, Wang Han steps forward and delivers a sharp slap that sends Qin Hao stumbling to the floor. Suchi gasps as Wang Han pulls her protectively behind him. Standing tall, he declares that since Suchi is carrying his child, she is under his protection, and dares Qin Hao to try and harm her again. Scrambling to his feet, Qin Hao roars in disbelief. Grabbing a heavy ashtray from the table, he charges with a scream. Calmly, Wang Han reassures Suchi to stay behind him. As Qin Hao swings, Wang Han sidesteps smoothly and counters with a devastating punch to the jaw, sending him crashing to the ground. Dazed and groaning, Qin Hao lies sprawled. Wang Han towers over him, his voice cold and steady as he warns him never to lay a hand on Suchi again. Then, grabbing the fallen man by the collar, he delivers a flurry of punches, each one landing with heavy finality as Qin Hao cries out helplessly. At that same moment, a commanding voice booms through the hall, demanding to know who dares behave so recklessly. A group enters, led by an elderly man with a long white beard and a cane. Suki's face turns pale. She calls him Grandpa. The patriarch of the Su family has arrived, and with him, the atmosphere freezes. His sharp gaze sweeps the scene. The old man's expression hardens. Striking his cane against the floor, he asks with chilling authority if it's true that Suki is carrying the child of this so-called delivery man. With quiet resolve, Suki nods. Her grandfather, voice trembling with fury, roars that the only solution is for the child to be removed immediately. But Qin Hao, bloodied yet unbroken, staggers to his feet. He declares that even if Suchi follows their demand, she will never be welcome in his home. The weight of it all becomes unbearable. Relatives point fingers, blaming each other for indulging Suki, lamenting that their family's future is now ruined. Suchi stands in silence, sorrow shadowing her face, until she can't hold back. She shouts for them to stop. Pain overtakes her, her body trembling, her vision blurring. Just as she collapses, Wang Han catches her in his arms. He steadies her gently, telling her not to be afraid, that he'll take her away. Her parents rush forward, furious, threatening Wang Han if he dares to leave with her. But he only looks at them with cold contempt, asking if they can even call themselves family. When they try to block his path, he knocks them aside effortlessly. At the doorway, with Suki unconscious in his arms, he declares he is taking her with him and challenges anyone to stop him. No one does. From the Su family's crumbling estate, he carries her to his modern apartment. Laying her softly on the sofa, he notices a small card slip from her purse. Picking it up, he realizes it's her birthday. For a moment, his expression softens. Despite her wealthy background, no one remembered. He vows that he will. About 20 minutes later, Suchi stirs awake, groggy and disoriented. She looks around, confused. Just then, Wang Han steps out, wearing an apron, holding a bowl of food. He tells her she must be hungry. At the dining table, she finds an entire spread, steaming dishes, fresh fruits, even carefully prepared sides. Wang Han proudly declares his cooking could impress anyone, even royalty. Amused, Su-chi teases him to tone down his bragging. Before she can question him further, he brings out a small pink cake with a single candle. Her eyes widen in surprise. Covering her mouth, she asks how he knew. Wang Han only smirks, asking if she thinks he's amazing. A tear slips down her cheek. He notices and teases lightly, offering his shoulder, claiming even world-class models don't get that privilege. The tension breaks, and Su-chi laughs. She takes a bite of his cooking, admits it's delicious, and he, of course, replies with full confidence that it couldn't be otherwise. After the meal, he tells her to make a wish. She closes her eyes, hands clasped, whispering silently to herself. When she's done, he looks at her with rare seriousness. "What are your plans now?" he asks. She looks back firmly, reminding him of his promise to stand by her, and demands to know if he intends to back down. Wang Han assures her he won't, but he challenges her. Does she truly dare to marry someone like him? Fired up, Su-chi rises to her feet. "I dare, and if you can't keep your word, I'll simply choose again. Then tomorrow we register our marriage." Su-chi meets his eyes without fear. "Fine, I'm not afraid." Their plans take an unexpected turn when Wang Han's phone buzzes. He excuses himself, and Su-chi nods as he steps onto the balcony to answer. On the other end, his subordinate's voice is frantic, warning him that an assassin named Hydra is already on the move and heading for Jiangning City. Wang Han listens calmly, asking if the source is reliable and where Hydra was last spotted. The reply comes quickly, near the Lin family's villa. Lighting a cigarette, Wang Han's tone remains steady. He simply says he understands and will handle it tomorrow. Back inside, Su-chi lounges on the sofa, nibbling her cake while chatting with her best friend, Lin Suifu. Lin wishes her a happy birthday and teasingly asks if she was the first one to remember. With a small smile, Su-chi admits she was second. "Second?" Lin blurts out. "Don't tell me it was Chin Hao who beat me to it." Glancing toward the balcony, Su-chi confesses it was Wang Han. Her friend's outrage comes instantly, demanding to know why she's involved with that delivery guy again. Su-chi sighs, taking another bite of cake, and drops the bombshell. They plan to register their marriage tomorrow. Lin Shuifu panics, calling her crazy, begging to know her location. Su-chi answers plainly, she's at his place. Determined to help, Lin promises to think of something, swearing she'll go beg the mysterious big shot from the recent auction for aid. But before she can say more, the call abruptly cuts off, leaving Su-chi puzzled. Meanwhile, the balcony conversation takes a heavier turn. Wang Han's subordinate reveals another troubling detail. The eldest princess has been asking about him. Alarm flickers across his face as he demands to know if she was told his location. Nervously, the subordinate admits she had no choice, fearing the princess's temper. Furious, he shouts into the phone, but his subordinate tries to joke that the princess would make a fine match for him. That only makes things worse. Before he can explode further, the line mysteriously goes dead. Left fuming, Wang Han crouches by the balcony rail, muttering that this is turning into a real mess. Then, another buzz, a text message from an unknown number. The sender introduces herself as Lin Suifu, granddaughter of Lin Qingyun. She proposes a partnership, offering cooperation on the Su family's new district project. Boldly, she even promises to do anything he asks if he agrees. Reading this, Wang Han smirks. She's got guts. Almost immediately, his phone rings again. It's Lin Qingyun himself, apologizing for his granddaughter's reckless message. Wang Han brushes it off, then lays down two crisp instructions. Tomorrow he needs a sniper rifle with 2 bullets, and from now on, Su-chi must have full control over the new district project. No other Su family member is to interfere. Lin Qingyun instantly agrees. Later, Su-chi receives a cheerful message from her best friend, saying she contacted the mysterious big shot, who, to Su-chi's surprise, agreed to support her and insisted she personally take charge of the project. Delighted, Su-chi texts back a quick yes. When Wang Han returns, he notices her glowing expression. Curious, he asks what's making her so happy. She brushes it off as business, something a delivery guy wouldn't understand. Spotting her book, he teases her gently, leaning close enough to fluster her. With her cheeks turning pink, she stammers, only for him to casually grab a pillow, reminding her that reading in bed isn't the best for expecting mothers. She's left speechless, realizing she thought too much. The next morning dawns bright. On the balcony, Wang Han trains intensely, balancing on one arm in a handstand. Su-chi, still in pajamas, steps out and jokes if he's practicing some toad style. Landing smoothly, he corrects her. It's the dragon coiling hand, a practical fighting technique, not for show. Intrigued, she asks why a delivery man would need something so dangerous. His expression softens as he recalls his father's words. Use martial arts to prevent conflict and protect family. Soo-ki is impressed, admitting his father's wisdom. The mood lightens again as Wang Han mentions he already made breakfast and set out toiletries for her. She's touched, noting she never realized he could be this thoughtful. He smirks, reminding her there's much she doesn't know about him. Then he drops the real reason she needs to get ready. They must go to her family home for her household registration book. Without it, they can't register their marriage. Soo-chi freezes, then glares suspiciously, thinking he might be backing out. As they walk toward his motorcycle, Soo-chi brought up something practical. Shouldn't they meet his parents first? Wang Han waved it off with an easy tone, saying there was no need. They could talk about it after the baby was born. Puzzled, Soo-chi frowned and asked why they should wait. With a sly smile, Wang Han explained he was worried his family might not approve of her at first. But once the baby arrived, his family would have no choice but to accept her. Hands on her hips, Soo-chi shot back, sarcasm dripping from her words. So what? You're saying you're the one marrying into my family? Wang Han just laughed it off, telling her not to take it seriously and to hop on the motorcycle. Huffing in annoyance, she climbed on behind him. He told her to hold on tight, and the two sped down the road. But from a distance, a pair of eyes followed. Hidden in the shadows, Qin Hao and a muscular subordinate watched them leave. With his face darkened by rage, Qin Hao gave his order. Follow them, kill the man, and bring her to him. The subordinate cracked his knuckles and prepared to move. Riding through the city, Wang Han caught sight of a white van tailing them in his rearview mirror. Danger was on their heels. Without letting on, he leaned back and told Soo-chi they had to make a stop. She should go home to pack her things while he ran an errand. Completely unaware of the threat, Soo-ki agreed. He drove her straight to a safe house. Once she was inside, he accelerated away, drawing the pursuers after him. The van followed as he led them into an upscale neighborhood before finally pulling up to a sleek, modern villa. Parking deliberately, he dismounted and glanced up. On the second-floor balcony, a spiky-haired man crouched in hiding. Calmly, he walked into the empty villa and headed upstairs. On a table sat a rifle case, just as arranged. Opening it, he picked up the suppressed weapon, admiring its craftsmanship. But then something unusual caught his eye, a blue bra lying on the nearby bed. He blinked, confused. Before he could process it, the bathroom door swung open. Wrapped in a towel, Lin Suifu, Soo-ki's best friend, froze at the sight of a strange man in her room holding a high-powered rifle. Her scream echoed through the room. Recognition turned to fury. You again? What are you doing in my house with that thing? This is the Lin family's villa! But before their argument could explode, a red laser dot slid across her forehead. Wang Han's expression hardened instantly. Down! He barked. A shot cracked through the window. He lunged forward, tackling Lin Suifu out of the bullet's path. They crashed onto the bed as she thrashed, shouting at him to let go. Pinning her down, Wang Han hissed for silence. Another sound could mean death. Rising, he grabbed the rifle and moved to the shattered window. Outside, the sniper on the opposite balcony adjusted his aim. Wang Han muttered under his breath, squeezed the trigger, and fired. His bullet tore across the courtyard, striking the assassin squarely. The enemy collapsed without a sound. Too easy, Wang Han remarked, lowering his weapon. But before Lin Suifu could demand an explanation, another shot screamed through the air from a different angle, shattering glass. Wang Han reacted instantly, throwing himself over her again as the bullet slammed into the wall behind them. Breathing heavily, Lin Suifu could barely speak. Wang Han stayed calm, tossing a piece of fabric from the bed into the air. The enemy fired at the decoy, and in that instant, Wang Han lined up his second and final shot. Another assassin fell. Almost immediately, gunfire erupted from a third location. Bullets shredded the wall as he dragged Lin Suifu behind the sofa for cover. She screamed, calling him a pervert for their compromising position, but Wang Han ignored her. When the gunfire ceased, he plucked a bullet casing from the wall. His face darkened. It was a signature round from Ares, a deadly assassin organization out of Eastern Europe. He glanced at the shaken Lin Suifu. So, when exactly did you manage to provoke people like this? All she could do was stammer, I don't know. He's out of ammunition. Crouching low, he weighs his options, unarmed and surrounded. Lin Shuifu suddenly remembers something important. She tells Wang Han she might know who is behind this attack. Some time ago, an Eastern European boss tried to buy research technology from her company, but she had refused him. Wang Han narrows his eyes and quickly pushes Lin Shuifu's head down as another bullet tears through the air above them. Behind the sofa, surrounded by debris, they wait for the slightest break in the attack. Then Wang Han notices the shards of broken glass scattered across the floor. With no other choice, he grabs a sharp piece, seizes a brief lull in the shooting, and hurls it like a blade. The shard spins through the air and strikes the last sniper's position. A pained cry follows. His desperate gamble worked. With the gunfire silenced, Wang Han rises, telling Lin Shuifu it's safe. Shaken, she climbs to her feet and fixes him with a suspicious look. She demands to know who he really is, insisting his cover as a delivery man can't be true. But Wang Han brushes her off, saying she doesn't need to know. Angry at his secrecy, she threatens to tell Suu Qi everything. He silences her with a finger to his lips, expression cold, warning her to stay quiet. He's heard something outside. Fear flashes in her eyes as she asks if more enemies are coming. He simply tells her to stay calm, he'll handle it. Downstairs, 3 thugs armed with heavy blades step into the villa. One recognizes Wang Han, scoffing that he's nothing more than a delivery man. Their leader calls him a thief, unaware of what they're about to face. Wang Han steps into view at the top of the stairs. With an almost casual wave, he greets them and asks if they're looking for him. Their leader declares they are men of Qin Hao and accuse him of being with Suu Qi. Another thug impatiently shouts to stop talking and just break his legs. Wang Han doesn't flinch. He only asks, "And what will you do about it?" Enraged, the thugs charge. The fight is over in seconds. Wang Han's speed is unmatched. His first kick drops one instantly. The second is knocked out before he can swing. Only the leader remains, staring in disbelief, realizing this is no ordinary man. He attacks with a furious swing of his blade. Wang Han leaps effortlessly over the strike and counters with a kick that sends the weapon flying. The thug crashes to the ground, dazed and broken. From above, Lin Shuifu lets out a scream. The thug, still conscious, seizes his chance. He lunges, grabs her, and presses the blade to her neck, using her as a shield. Wang Han remains calm. He steps forward slowly, telling the thug to go ahead if he dares. His tone is icy, each step making the man more nervous. Finally, with a blur of motion, Wang Han closes the distance, catching the flat of the blade between his fingers. The steel stops dead. The thug stares in shock as Wang Han snaps the weapon apart with a flick. Wang Han lifts the thug by the throat, mocking him for thinking he could fight. Desperate, the thug claims to belong to the feared Black Dragon Society. Wang Han only says, "So what?" before slamming him to the floor. The thug tries to bargain, pleading that he has family, begging for mercy. In the end, he blurts out crucial information. Qin Hao has already gone to find Suu Qi. Rage flashes in Wang Han's eyes. With one final blow, he silences the man. A loud knock suddenly echoes through the villa. A voice calls out, "It's the police." Realizing time is short, Wang Han tells Lin Shuifu he's leaving to find Suu Qi. He instructs her not to mention he was ever there. She promises to handle it. Moments later, officers arrive. Lin Shuifu explains that 3 armed men broke into her home while she was showering. The police arrest the unconscious intruders and report finding 2 bodies across the street. Professional killers, not ordinary men. Shocked, their captain orders everything taken in for investigation. Meanwhile, Suu Qi is cornered in a bedroom by Qin Hao. His face twists with rage as he reveals his intentions, mocking her and gloating that he has already sent men to deal with Wang Han. Suu Qi trembles but tells him to leave. He snarls, swearing that once Wang Han is gone, she'll have no one left to protect her. Qin Hao grabs Suu Qi, sneering that she can scream all she wants. No one is coming to help. With a smug grin, he mocks her, saying the delivery guy can't even protect himself, let alone her. But before he can finish, a foot slams into his face, cutting him off mid-threat. Qin Hao goes flying across the room. Standing tall in the doorway is none other than our hero, arriving just in time. His glare is sharp as he warns, "If you dare lay a hand on her, you're asking for trouble." Groaning on the floor, Qin Hao spits back, demanding if a delivery boy really has the guts to hit him. He shouts, "Do you even know who my father is?" Unimpressed, Wang Han fires back with a smirk. "Doesn't matter who he is. You'll be too busy paying hospital bills for the son he raised." Qin Hao scrambles up, boasting that his father is the richest man in the city and that Wang Han will regret this forever. But before he can puff himself up further, a powerful kick to the chest sends him crashing through the window. Turning back to Suki, Wang Han softens. He pulls her into his arms, promising that as long as he's around, no one will ever hurt her again. Meanwhile, outside, Qin Hao is crawling away, furious, spitting curses and swearing this isn't over. Once the tension fades, Wang Han suddenly asks Su Qi what time it is. She blinks, surprised at the odd question, but tells him anyway. With a laugh, he explains he forgot about an important meeting and invites her to come along. Without hesitation, she agrees. Soon, they arrive at a towering corporate building. An assistant hurries over, informing them that CEO Liu is already waiting in the conference room. Inside, Su Qi apologizes for the delay, but the CEO's eyes widen when she sees Wang Han blurting out, "Young master," before he quickly interrupts, brushing it off like they're just old acquaintances. Su Qi notices and raises an eyebrow at this unexpected reveal. They sit, ready to discuss business, when suddenly Su Qi's grandfather bursts in with other family members. He greets CEO Liu formally, but immediately grumbles about Wang Han being present. His granddaughter defends him, saying she has every right to bring who she wants. That sparks an uproar. Suki's father angrily orders Wang Han to serve tea to the CEO, while her brother declares that her words mean nothing in the company. Even her uncle jumps in, claiming business should be left to her brother since she'll be married off soon anyway. Wang Han's temper rises. He challenges them, asking why they're trying to steal the project that belongs to Suki. Her family snaps back, calling him nothing more than a delivery boy meddling in matters far above him. Her brother even mocks that she's with a nobody. Her grandfather roars, demanding she throw Wang Han out immediately, but Su Qi refuses to back down. She defends him, saying he earns his living honestly. Furious at her defiance, her grandfather yells at her to stay quiet. Wang Han steps up, firmly declaring that Suki alone should handle the project. This pushes the grandfather over the edge. He turns to CEO Liu, asking her to hand the deal to his grandson instead. To his shock, CEO Liu rejects the idea without hesitation, stating her company will only negotiate with Suki. If the family refuses, she'll take her business elsewhere. The room falls silent. Suki's grandfather breaks into a cold sweat, realizing his leverage is gone. Her father, desperate not to lose everything, quickly agrees and declares that Suki will lead the project. CEO Liu confirms the decision and ushers everyone else out, saying she'll only discuss details with Suki. Defeated, the relatives shuffle out one by one. Wang Han can't help but smirk, calling them a real bunch of clowns under his breath as the CEO hands Suki the contract. Outside, however, the family is already plotting. Suki's father pulls his son and brother aside, revealing a secret. Suki isn't even his biological daughter. She was adopted, he says bitterly, leaving behind only a worthless pendant from her real parents. Her uncle is shocked, while her brothers see these with anger, but her father calms them with a plan. Let Suki secure the project first, then take it from her when the time is right. The son grins, satisfied with the scheme.